frankly, the elephant in the room, which is Will Levis. Of course, Will Levis is a highly touted prospect, seemingly has all of the requisite traits. And of course, that's what modern day scouts are focusing on. They think if we can find the traits, the physical tools and gifts that can't be taught, we can coach him up. We can coach him up. So the question is, can Will Levis be coached up? But before we get to that specific question, let's talk about his performance in this matchup with Ole Miss. And I'm going to start with you, Drew.
Yeah, I don't like to put fault on nobody because it's a team sport, man. Damn, Will Levis, this was your time to shine, baby. This was it.
It was.
I know there's a couple more games, obviously, within the season that he can make headway. But going into the game, you always, the pregame is, this is the guy. I'd be surprised if he's not, the number one quarterback off the board or in the top three. And then you go out there at Ole Miss and you don't perform. And my biggest concern for him going into the season, was, he doesn't have Robinson anymore. So they're not as strong. Yeah. But it's just, how is he going to look this year? What is it going to look like? That clock, that internal clock, that's a problem. And I can't necessarily, I can't blame him. The right tackle got hurt. Backup comes in, gets exposed. Will Levis hold on to the ball a tick too long. Ball gets stripped. Game over. Will Levis looks like a guy that you look at him and you say, okay, this is a guy who should be able to.
He looks like a guy.
Damn, bro. A jack? Come on, man.
No. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
He looks like a guy that can elevate the level of play of the players. I would think. There's different versions of a quarterback. It's guys who you put guys around them, and you can see them perform very, very well. There's guys that they can play with trash, and they'll raise the level of play around them. To me, I want to think Will Levis can do that. Not that there's trash on the team, because the offensive line is an issue for that team. They lost a lot of talent, and that's a problem. And it gets exploited pretty much every week. And I thought he was a guy that could kind of circumvent that right now. And right now, that is not the case. So,
but before I get to your analysis, Headley, Drew, and I'm going to open this up to both of you. Do you think that he's been given a certain level of leeway, a certain amount of cachet, considering the fact that the supporting cast may not be quite as good as it was a season ago?
I think there are people out there that do, and I think there's other people out there are saying the concerns that we have in terms of your internal clock, in terms of going through your progressions routinely,
supporting cast,
consistently,
notwithstanding,
I'm not giving you leeway. So I think there's a group that will, and there's a group that won't.
Yeah, the offensive line is not the same. Like you said, the receiver is not there. But, he did get back his big running back. I know we're going to speak about him right after, but he got back Chris Rodriguez. So, he didn't have a big game on the ground. And if you look at Levis' stats, 18 for 24, 220 yards, 2 TDs, no picks, it looks like, okay, he played a pretty all right game. But watching the game, and you see, like Drew said, the internal clock, he took that safety when he shouldn't have took that safety, get the ball out your hands, throw it out of bounds. And then last 3 minutes of the game, he tries to scramble left, fumbles, right? Got the possession back. He didn't get his guys lined up in time. He did throw a touchdown, but it got called back because he didn't get his guys lined up in time. As a leader, the quarterback, you're supposed to make sure everyone's set, make sure, before we say hi. And then right after that, the right tackle got beat, he fumbled. So you had 2 fumbles within the last 3 minutes. And that's ultimately what happened. Kentucky kept on shooting themselves in the foot. I think they missed some extra points, a field goal, the fumbles by Will Levis. It's a game they should have easily won. But Levis, he didn't rise to the occasion, and Kentucky lost.
So I want to pose this question before we move on from Will Levis, and I think this is going to be kind of a reoccurring question, all things considered. Unless he completely, flips the script, we will see brilliance. There are going to be times where he looks like the best player on the field, and then we're going to see exactly what we saw within those last 3 minutes, as Headley described. But we talk about the NFL draft and the projections and the traits and so on and so forth, and a couple prospects, maybe not so recent draft prospects, but quarterbacks, current starters in the league, i.e. Josh Allen and Carson Wentz. I think Will Levis has been compared to some of those guys, right? And I'm wondering, he is more Josh Allen or Carson Wentz? Is there too much hype on Will Levis?
When
Yeah,
you talk
I
about
think the hype
guys,
is there.
yeah,
Go, Drew, my bad.
no, you good. I would agree that the hype is there, and when you have guys with those traits at that position, you're gonna get that hype. I mean, it is what it is, right? You just want to be able to kind of mold him and okay, get him refined, and then when you get him refined and he's doing the traditional things that you want as a quarterback, and then when things start to break down, he can turn into the Josh Allen and do those things, and you have a Superman back there. You know what I'm saying? That's the ultimate goal, is it not? With the guy with his talent, size, speed, all that stuff. Just I need to refine it and put it all together. It's just that if you can't do these simple things, the traditional style things that you need to do consistently, none of that other stuff works because everybody's as fast as you, if not faster. You know what I'm saying? On the other side of the ball.
That's absolutely fair. That you got to have your fundamentals. You have to have the basics in place to then let those, upper echelon traits and physical tools kind of shine through. One of the things that we often talk about with respect to Carson Wentz is the fact that Carson Wentz doesn't know his limitations. Is that what you see in Will Levis? Do you see any correlation there, Headley?
I don't think it's as bad as Carson Wentz. He's not, running around throwing the ball. He's not doing that. He tries to play in
within the
offense,
structure,
within the offense, within structure. Yep. But it's just being a leader. He can get better. At those traits. He has that physical talent. He could throw the ball over the field. But being a leader, getting your guys set up, making good decisions, working through progressions, those are the things he has to work on. I don't think he's as bad as Carson Wentz in terms of running around like a chicken with your head cut off and don't know what you're doing. But the Josh Allen, I don't know. Even Josh Allen in college, what I'm saying, he showed some leadership ability and leading his football team.
Command,
despite the talent, the command of the offense, despite his talent. But and Will Levis, those are the things that he would need to work on to go with those physical attributes.